guys, welcome back. So I finally have a long overdue skincare related video for you guys, and for today I thought I would finally review Krave Beauty's product line. I currently have tried 4 of the 5 products that they have, so I feel like that's good enough to do a review for you guys. I don't want to hold out any longer. The only product that I don't have or haven't tried yet is the Oat So Cream, I believe that's what it's called, moisturizer. It's a little bit on the lighter end, and I usually prefer a more luxurious, heavy moisturizer, so that's the only reason why I haven't tried it yet. I am still very curious about it, so maybe in the future I'll get it, but I'm not really in a rush because there are other moisturizers I want to try, so we'll see. But I do have 4 of the 5 and I still want to do this review for you guys. And what's cool about this too is that all the products that I bought, I've actually gone through all of it. So these are empties except for this beach shield. This is actually my sister's. I just kind of stole it for this video. I did try it 3 times maybe, or 4, so I feel like that's okay in terms of giving you guys a review for sunscreen, just because I think, you know, trying it that many times still gives me a pretty good idea of how I feel about it. But otherwise, all of these guys I've pretty much finished, like 98% of it. There might be a little bit left on the sides, which I'll kind of save for product close-ups. I did also steal my sister's Great Barrier Relief, so this has product in it, but mine is pretty much finished. You might notice in the product shots that there's a full one of this, so a little bit of an asterisk next to this video. So I figured I would give you guys just like a little bit of an introduction on Krave Beauty if you guys aren't familiar. They're only about maybe 2 or 3 years old, so they're still relatively new. They were started by a influencer actually. I think she's a YouTuber. I honestly didn't really know much about her until I started using Krave, but she's definitely someone who I think was really big in the skincare game in terms of, you know, when she was still doing YouTube. She probably still does YouTube, but skincare was like her thing. So she started her own line, and I actually really appreciate their company's like philosophy or ethos. They're really about keeping things simple. They're a brand that's been around for like 2-3 years, but they only have 5 products because they're all about simplicity. They don't believe in, like, you know, overcomplicating things. Like, they're not gonna come out with 5 different cleansers, 5 different moisturizers. They're all about simplifying it, because that's, you know, how your skin typically would prefer to function. I'm not someone, you know, who abides by those rules quite yet. It's something I would love to do, but there's just so many yummy skincare things, like I can't help it. I appreciate the aspect about them, and I think that they are really a company that takes their time with developing products, which I think is also great too, because, you know, in the industry of skincare and makeup, they're throwing out new products every week, certain brands, you know, and like, I'm like, do you guys really, you know, take the time to research and like try and, you know, come up with the best formulations? Obviously I'm not, you know, behind the scenes with these brands, but I think, you know, having a slower rollout of products, for me, I think shows that they're taking maybe a little bit more time. So I don't know, that's just me and how I think about it, but I just think that they're really good with, you know, their marketing and their branding. They're also really big on sustainability too, and like recycling their products and how to properly recycle things. So it's just stuff that I value, and I think they do a really good job of their messaging and things like that. But that's besides the point. I just think they're a really cool brand, and I do look forward to when they do decide to drop more products. And I also think their price points are very reasonable. They're not drugstore prices by any means, but they're definitely not Drunk Elephant price range, or, you know, pharmacy is a little bit expensive too. So it's a really great brand if you're wanting to step up your routine, but you don't want to, you know, break the bank. And it's a really good line too, I think, if you have very sensitive skin as well, because they use very gentle, more natural ingredients. So I think they are definitely a brand to try. The only thing about them is they are online only, but I'm pretty sure they're pretty lenient with their return policy. So if something doesn't work out for you, you can bring it back, or, you know, send it back. So something to think about there as well. But I'm pretty happy with everything that I tried. There's nothing that I hated. There's stuff that I like more than others, but I think it's a brand that is very well thought out and would recommend to you guys. So I figured I would do the review in the order in which you would use them. So the first thing we'll be talking about is the Matcha Hemp Hydrating Cleanser. So this is a barrier-friendly antioxidant cleanser with matcha, hemp seed, oats, almonds, and vitamin B5. And in terms of texture, this is going to be more of a gel-like texture with maybe a slight bit of tackiness. It also does lather up a little bit when you use it, and it's going to be very good in terms of lightly cleansing the skin. So for me, I would use this as my first step cleanse, and then I would use something else afterwards to remove more of my makeup, because I felt like it didn't remove everything off of my face. I felt like I still had a little bit of foundation or, you know, dirt oil on my skin after I would use this. So for me, I think I would give this overall like a 7 out of 10, just because I feel like I have stuff that I like a little bit more in terms of like a first cleanse. I like the Pharmacy Honey Cleanser a little bit better, just because I feel like it grabs more of my makeup off the first try. I wouldn't say this left my skin stripped by any means, but I think I didn't feel as soft as I would want. I mean, granted, I knew I was going to be using another cleanser afterwards, so it's not make or break, but I feel like if I had to only use this cleanser, I wouldn't feel as clean as I would like in terms of getting everything off my face. So this one was just okay for me, and I probably will not be repurchasing this one, but again, I didn't hate it. It's just not my favorite. Next up is the Hallelujah AHA toner. So this is going to be a chemical exfoliant, and I think this would be a really good chemical exfoliant for first timers, or maybe someone who's looking for a more gentle option, because with AHA or BHA toners, they typically tend to be a little bit more intense. You're only supposed to be really using chemical exfoliators like 2 or 3 times a week, because you don't want to mess up the barrier of your skin. Your skin can only handle so much exfoliation, and that goes for chemical and physical exfoliants. But for me, I don't consider my skin to be sensitive, so there were days where I was using this every day and I didn't find my skin to be irritated or anything like that. So it really just depends on your skin, but like I was saying, if you are sensitive, I think this would be great. The toner that I was using before this was the Ulla Henriksen Dark Spot Toner. That stuff is intense. If you had like a pimple that had just popped and then you put that stuff on your face, oh my gosh, that thing would burn. This, I never felt that way with this guy. Never had a burning sensation with this no matter what. So I really liked this. I would repurchase. I'm not in a rush to, just because there are other like chemical exfoliants that I really want to try. So it's one of those things where I liked it, but I want to try other stuff too. So I might repurchase this in the future just to have a gentler option for days that maybe my skin is a little bit more sensitive. So I would repurchase this one simply because it was just so gentle, and it did give my skin a little bit of a glow when I would use this guy too. So definitely would get this one again. Next up is the Great Barrier Relief Serum, and this is actually my favorite product out of everything, just because I feel like it's the most unique, and I love how it made my skin feel the next morning when I would use this product. So this has tamanu oil, safflower oil, rose hip, which is one of my favorite oils in terms of like skincare oils, just because it has so much antioxidants, lots of vitamin E, it's good for repairing the skin. There's also vitamin B3, ceramide, cholesterol, and NMF, which I'm not really sure what that is, but I just love how my skin would feel after I would use this. I feel like my skin looked moisturized, supple, super youthful. The next morning when I would wake up, it just looked nice and glowy. So for me, if you were to pick one thing, I think this would be the thing to get, just because I think it has the most nutritional value for the skin. It's something that's actually going to sit on your face for a long period of time. In terms of hydration, it is a little bit more moisturizing. So for me, I didn't feel the need to use a moisturizer and the serum. So I would just use it as, you know, my moisturizer for the evening, and then the next morning it would be seeped into my skin, but I would still look hydrated, which I love. So for me, I think this is great. In terms of smell, it smells like green juice to me. It doesn't have a fragrance, like a synthetic smelling fragrance. Like, you know, I'm not really a big fan of like glow recipes like watermelon line, for example. Like that stuff is too strong of a smell. Like, especially for something that's gonna be on my face all evening, I don't want it to have a very synthetic strong smell. I would much rather have a healthy green smelling scent on my face as opposed to like watermelon. You know what I mean? That's just my personal opinion on that, but I love this stuff. Will repurchase. I'm really tempted to actually start using my sister's, but she'll probably get mad at me. But yeah, I will repurchase this sometime soon, but definitely get this one. And then last but not least is the Beet Shield, which is their antioxidant day fluid. So the thing about this is on their website and on this product itself, it doesn't explicitly say that it's a sunblock, but that's what it is. I am pretty sure it's because of the whole like FDA or, you know, the skincare, you know, higher ups. They're very strict about wording, and like there's all these technicalities when it comes to kind of saying if something is a sunscreen. They're very strict. So this is a sunscreen, but it doesn't tell you how much SPF is in it because it's not supposed to be sunscreen. So I can't really tell you that kind of information, but what I can tell you is that I really like it. It doesn't disturb my makeup. It doesn't have a white cast on my skin, which is very important. I know that's a very big, you know, concern when it comes to sunblock on the face, but you do need to wear sunblock on your face every single day, no matter what. And I think this is a great everyday sunblock. I don't think this would be sufficient for someone who's going to the beach and spending hours and hours laying out. I don't think this is strong enough for that unless you were applying it, you know, every hour or two. But for someone who's just maybe running errands or just, you know, gonna be out for the day or whatever, I think this would be sufficient. But yes, like I said, for an 8-hour, you know, beach day, this probably would not be strong enough, and I would recommend something, you know, a little bit more intense. But this I like, doesn't leave my skin sticky, doesn't feel like sunblock on my skin, and it doesn't have a really crazy sunblock smell. So overall, I definitely would purchase one for myself because like I mentioned earlier, this is my sister's. So I think this would be great for everyday use. I still really like my Glossier one, which is the one that I'm still using. I've been using that one for like 3 or 4 years now. So I'm still using that, but I would probably use this maybe during winter time just because I feel like it does leave your skin a little bit more moisturized. I don't think if you're oily that you would hate this necessarily, but it does add a little bit of hydration to your skin. So that could be a love-hate thing for you depending on what your skin is like, but I think this would be a really good like winter time sunscreen. And yes, even though it's winter, you still should wear sunscreen. But that Glossier one, if you were oily, I think would be really great because it's like a gel-like texture, whereas this one has a little bit of a light lotiony feel to it. So there's definitely pros and cons depending on what your skin is like, but if you were oily, I think you would still like this one. This feels really lovely on the skin. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know I haven't done skincare in a long time, so I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Please let me know if there are other videos you want to see. I have a couple of ideas in my mind, but I'm down for suggestions. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.